Hey guys, you probably won't survive this one without wanting to change your own Wi-Fi password at least twice. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to see who's hearing this in the middle of the night and who's sipping their first coffee. The morning light warms the kitchen steam curling from Marissa's coffee, while the radio hums along. Peace. Or at least until the doorbell chimes and the sound slices the air like someone just announced free kale smoothies at the HOA potluck. She knows who it is before she moves Karen Bennett, Queen Bee of the neighborhood, standing outside like a tax auditor in beige heels. Karen's arms are folded so tight it looks like she's trying to keep a beach ball from escaping. "We need to talk about your Wi-Fi," she says, each syllable pressed and ironed. Marissa blinks halfway between disbelief and wanting to laugh. Apparently their internet is interfering with Karen's signal, an accusation that sounds about as scientific as blaming cloudy days on soup spoons. Ela, Marissa's teenage daughter, overhears from the kitchen and drifts closer. She's got that look in her eye, the same look historians still argue whether Julius Caesar had right before he crossed the Rubicon. Karen's pressing for a password reset, claiming the HOA board will take action if it's not done. Marissa stays polite, but Ela drops the hammer. "I already changed it," she says almost cheerfully, "and no one gets in without my okay." Karen's jaw drops far enough to make a dentist proud. The air sharpens. Marissa can feel it in her chest as the realization lands. Karen's been secretly using their Wi-Fi for months. Isla has just locked her out and dared her to complain. It's bold, it's petty, and it's absolutely going to end badly. Karen mutters something about property rights and HOA rules before storming off. The silence she leaves behind feels heavier than her perfume trail. Marissa tells Isla she's gone too far, but the kid's unrepentant. She's tired of Karen's constant policing of the neighborhood from grass height to mailbox color, and now with one click, the balance of power has shifted. For 2 days, nothing. Then an email from the HOA pings into Marissa's inbox subject line, screaming like a courtroom gavel, formal complaint regarding Wi-Fi access. There's going to be a hearing, and Karen's already circling her allies like a cat with a fresh laundry pile. By the time the community center doors swing open for the hearing, the air inside feels thick enough to slice. The HOA board sits in a long rectangular formation, equal parts folding table and medieval tribunal. Karen claims the head seat chin tilted like she's auditioning for a portrait in Leaders Who Never Lose. She launches into her speech, voice crisp drama dialed to 11. According to her, Isla's password change has endangered the harmony of the neighborhood and set a dangerous precedent for unchecked digital aggression. It's a phrase so over the top that historians still argue whether she coined it just to make herself sound like a cybersecurity czar. Marissa listens, jaw tight. There's nothing concrete, just vague accusations wrapped in self-importance. When her turn comes, she stands legs a little shaky, but spine locked straight. She lays it out plainly. Karen's been using their Wi-Fi without permission. They secured it for privacy, not spite. And this isn't the first time Karen's overstepped. A ripple moves through the room. Neighbors exchange glances, some sheepish, some curious, like they've just been told the HOA's cookie fund is actually financing a trampoline in Karen's backyard. Then Ela steps up beside her mom, voice calm, but with a teenage bite that could slice drywall. "We're setting boundaries. This isn't about Wi-Fi, it's about control. And we're done being controlled." Greg, their blunt-spoken neighbor, strolls in late but makes it count. "Private matter," he scoffs. "Not when it affects everyone here." His arrival sends Karen's posture into a visible twitch. She threatens to take it to court, even hinting she'd dissolve the HOA entirely, a nuclear option that lands with both fear and absurdity. Mrs. Whitaker, one of the older board members who rarely speaks, finally does. "We need to vote," she says, slow but sure. And just like that, the balance tips. The vote is swift, almost anticlimactic. Karen's presidency ends before she can rehearse her acceptance speech for Neighborhood Dictator of the Year. Applause bursts from a few seats, cautious at first, then louder. Karen's face goes pale, then blotchy, then something between the two as she hisses, "You think you've won? This isn't over." She storms out, heels cracking against the linoleum like a warning shot. Marissa exhales her body, realizing it's been tense for an hour straight. She and Isla walk out together, feeling that fragile post-victory lightness, the kind you get when you win the first round, but know the rematch is inevitable. Karen's "this isn't over" doesn't take long to materialize. Days later, Marissa gets a call from a lawyer whose voice is so polished it could pass for a luxury car commercial. The lawsuit is official claims of HOA violations, harassment, and yes, the Wi-Fi password. If pettiness were an Olympic sport, Karen would be wearing gold. Isla's furious. She's suing us over a password. Marissa's calmer, but her mind's spinning. They hire an attorney, start collecting evidence, and line up neighbors who've had their own run-ins with Karen's heavy-handed rule. The days before the trial feel like living inside a pressure cooker with a faulty release valve. Then comes the package, delivered to their doorstep, big and heavy. Inside, a framed photo of their house taken from across the street with red-letter words at the bottom. "You think you've won. You've only just begun. I'll be watching you." It's personal now, not just HOA politics. This is intimidation. Court day arrives cold and sharp. Inside, the formality of the courtroom feels alien, like stepping onto a movie set where everyone forgot to tell you your lines. Karen sits smug at her table, her lawyer reciting the case with the confidence of someone reading from a brochure. It's all performance, lots of moral outrage, zero real evidence. When it's Marissa's turn, she strips it back to the truth. They secured their network for privacy. Karen turned it into a crusade for control. Isla backs her up, pointing out how the Wi-Fi was just the latest in a long string of overreaches. The jury listens, some nodding, some scribbling. By the end, Karen's lawyer is running low on steam. The judge thanks both sides, says he'll review the case. As they leave, Marissa's heart is lighter, but not by much. Back home, Isla checks the router on a hunch. The settings have been changed again, but this time the name in the access log isn't Karen's. They stare at the screen, the room suddenly feeling colder. "This isn't over, is it?" Marissa whispers. Isla shakes her head. "No, Mom. It's just beginning." The adrenaline that's been propping them up starts to ebb. Outside, the neighborhood looks the same, lawns trimmed, curtains drawn, but it's impossible to unsee the shadows. The war with Karen may have peaked in court, but someone else is already moving in the background. They lock the door, exchange a glance, and silently agree on the only thing they can. They'll keep fighting. Not just for a password, but for their home, their privacy, and the small, stubborn freedom of deciding who gets to log in.